Your voice matters. Your vote matters. And your story matters. This is ERIKA SUGARMON Unfiltered. Let's get into it. Welcome back to ERIKA SUGARMON Unfiltered. We talk a lot about economic growth in Shelby County. And you see all these cranes that are going around and building all these different buildings and facilities. But you know what? Do the workers come from Shelby County? Do they come from other states? And if so, why? We're going to talk about tradesmen, unions, things that people who are the workers who want to know about, because lots of times they're stuck in a job that is the working poor who need a trade or lift up. Happy New Year. The start of the new year, with trade, getting a living wage in place. We have today a special guest because she's out there. She's a force of nature. She fights for the workers. Her name is Sweetrica Baker. What drives you to want to help and support the workers? And a little bit about your background.
So my name is Sweetrica Baker, and it definitely is a tongue twister. And so it's always forgivable. And I work with the Memphis Central Labor Council for workers in Memphis. So working in unions, a lot of people don't understand that unions are actually working people that have a contract with the boss. In case it wasn't caught when I was first saying, I do work with the Memphis Central Labor Council, AFL-CIO. We work with unions that have organized workers at different work sites that want a contract, that want to be able to tell their boss what their needs are. So I work with unions that are from different trades, places like Kroger's, Kellogg's, UPS workers. And so those are things that are usually common household names that we know, but we don't always know that they are union. Your postal person is a union member. So union members are organized workers that come together and they decide that they want to ask and demand certain things and benefits, including their pay.
And so, as a teacher of 27 years, I'm also a union. We have two local teachers unions here in Shelby County, and I've been part of one of them for 27 years. And I was part of the PECA process, as you pointed out, talking about the MOUs and things of that nature. And so it's very important that you have people that can speak for individuals. But I want to go back to talking about the all the development that's going on here in Shelby County. For one project, how many different trades are involved on average?
What we have here in Memphis is called the Memphis Building Trades Council. And so for the Building Trades Council, it's generally a council of multiple trades. That would be bricklayers, mortars, pipe layers, seam fitters. There are numbers of trades. There are so many different trades. I want to say there's over 400 different union types.
Wow.
Yes, but here in Memphis, the Memphis Building Trades has around about 20 attached to the building trades. For the Labor Council, we have about 42 affiliates from different union work. All of it is not necessarily a hands-on trade. Some of it is skilled trade, such as like working in the warehouse. It may not be welding or iron fitting or whatever. So there's just multiple different trades that people can learn. HVAC, and there's so many different skills that people could partake in that is very lucrative living, great pay, great benefits. And a lot of times something we don't have and we don't see in regular jobs these days, pensions. Those are a thing of the past for so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are some of the benefits that come with working with a union. And you mentioned these contractors that are coming in from out of town. Why aren't we utilizing the work that's already here? We have skilled workers right here in the Mid-South, and we're training up new workers all the time. We have apprenticeship programs. I know that's something you want to talk about. There are other apprenticeship programs. The problem is those apprenticeship programs are very short. People are getting a certification. They're not necessarily a professional. They are just learning enough to get on the line, get in the line of fire. And sometimes those workers don't make it home. We prioritize safety. Coming to work and going back home to your family is a top priority. We make sure that everybody has the training they need, make sure that they are tested, they are tried and tested again. That means it takes time. That means that you're not going through a program in 12 months. That means it takes sometimes 5 years.
Wow.
But these workers are working.
Right.
The workers are not only learning, but they're working as they're skilled up. So they don't just go and get a skill and say, hey, just give me a job, I want to be a foreman in the next year. It just doesn't happen that way. They make sure that the work is done properly. They trade union skills, men and women take pride in their work. And a lot of times they work in very harsh weather and conditions,
Mhm.
which is another reason why they do bargain for a higher pay because
Mhm.
their lives are at risk and they are exposed to elements all the time.
So you mentioned apprenticeship programs,
Mhm.
and so which apprenticeship programs do the unions offer? Can you mention them? And also, I want to provide a QR code. When you came to, and again, thank you for coming out to White Station High School
Mhm.
because young people were very excited about, especially HVAC, I believe, and the welding, et cetera, programs. But you also offered a QR code where they can go in, people can go in and apply for some of the apprenticeship code. Is that correct?
Yes. So actually there is a website for
Okay.
the Mid-South construction trades. They can actually find it at www.midsouthconstructioncareers.org, or you can look up the booklet. And if you look up the booklet on the computer, you can scan it from your phone. There's different QR codes for each trades group, and it's about 16 listed in that book. But there's a digital version, and you can find that at bit.ly/ all capital letters APPREN guide. And I always just say apron guide, but to spell it out properly, it's like half of the word of apprentice, start ending with the N and putting guide behind. That is somewhere that they can go and they can flip through the book digitally and find information. It will give you a description of every trade. Trades are not taking in people every single day. There
Mm.
is a process. You can look through that book and look at things that you're interested in, but we
Mhm.
have something even better. When you go to that wmidsouthconstructioncareers.org, we
Mhm.
have a program called MC3 program. And that is a pre-look at all the trades that are available. Not only that, but they help them train for the test. There are a series of tests that they have to take, math tests, measuring tests, and they teach them this, and they also offer them training about diversity, about
Mm.
sexual harassment, about working with women in construction, because yes, women do construction work too. We want to make sure that everybody feels like a whole person, even the LGBTQ community. Working in a union is one of the places that LGBT workers have a lot of protection because we don't protect the few, we protect everybody. In a union, it is a cover all. We cover everyone that is a part of the union, and even some of the workers that choose not to be a part of the union,
Mhm.
because it's our duty to make sure that everybody is fairly taken care of. But we encourage everyone, if you're going to be at a work site where they have a union, not putting in is like, it's like living for free. And that's not really fair. That's not
Mhm.
fair to the people that work just as hard as you. You all should always pull in together. We are stronger together. Everywhere we go, join your union.
I love that. Cover all, cover everybody. That is so true. And so one of the commissioners on December the 15th said, if the unions, you have to join. That is not true. So there's this all these, misconceptions about union and labor. And so they protect individuals' rights and they and provide help them to negotiate the MOU contracts and they fight for benefits.
Mhm.
And so having said that, Tennessee and a lot of southern states are for the right to work states. And a lot of times, I look at not only, laws, but resolutions, and sometimes the captions are misleading because the right to work, you think it says everybody's right to work. No, that is not what it means. So, can you set the record straight?
Oh, I'd be happy to. That was a 3-year fight that we had, and we fought it on a legislative level state because the state decided they wanted to make people make as little money as possible in Tennessee because that's attractive to businesses. That hurts families.
Right.
And when we don't allow workers to organize, that means that we are asking workers to be quiet and put up with what they have to deal with. And that's not fair to anyone. Right to work in the union world, we say right to work for less because
Yeah.
you are committing to working for whatever the boss says he can afford to pay you. But if you found out, if you knew that your boss could afford, let's say, let's go all the way to the top. A CEO can afford over 300 houses compared to the one house that you can afford. wouldn't you have a problem with that? And you're doing the work. All they're doing is signing off on the paperwork and they go to business meetings in expensive business suits while you work hard to put food on your table. You work hard to make sure that you have health care for your family. And you're trying to also work hard to stay alive so that you can be there to provide for your family and enjoy the fruits of your labor. But they get to go on yacht trips and trips across the world. I think that they can spare a few dollars so you can get paid good and have a living wage.
And so that's the same argument, for example, at Shelby County Commission. We're trying to push for a living wage, which according to MIT is $20.77. And then you have people at the top who are making like over $100,000. And we have people who are making like 15, $18 an hour, which is not a living wage. It took us 3 years to pass this at the commission. But recently we passed on December the 15th. We requesting from the state freedom of choice. Choice is a big thing. We want the choice in Shelby County to determine whether or not we want the right to work or not. It should be a choice. And so for everybody listening, I need y'all to write your legislators and tell them, again, tell them in writing, make a phone call, text message, whatever you have to do, tell them that we want that choice. The choice to have a right to work state or not. In other words, for Shelby County, let's exclude Shelby County from the right of work state. Since so many times I like to carve out Shelby County, okay? Again, carve out Shelby County, give Shelby County the opportunity to choose. Give us a choice on whether or not Shelby County wants to be a part of the right to work or not. And so again, if you're listening, I'm always asking individuals to write letters to their elected officials. And believe you me, when I hear from my constituents and they tell me vote yes, vote no on this resolution or that resolution, I listen. Because remember, this is an election year. Okay? They're going to want your vote. Well, if they want your vote, they need to what? Listen to you.
Yes. And a
And
lot of
so,
people don't understand the power behind their vote. They're thinking that my vote doesn't matter until the president, it's time to vote for president again. Absolutely not. Your vote matters more than anything locally, at the local level. These are the people that affect your life most immediately and on a more regular basis than the president. The president definitely does make some decisions, but he does not make decisions on his own. Even with his executive orders, he still has to be approved by the House. Everything cannot just be approved automatically because he signs off on it. There's still processes. We do have a judicial system. We also have judicial review. So sometimes these things have to go to court. But people have to speak up. People have to fight. People have to say, I'm not okay with it. When we're quiet, these kind of things are the things that get pushed over. And it happens and it hurts people like us. It hurts people that are working to take care of their families. The majority of us in Shelby County don't come from long money. We don't come from wealth. We are people creating wealth, creating generational hope through the work of our hands in our backs. And we should not have to do that begging and pleading for a decent pay. We shouldn't have to do that. That is the reason why we should definitely reach out to our leaders, our congressmen, our senators, our council people, even because they have influence to talk to those that are making the decisions. They are some of the people that make those, that pass those resolutions, that create the bills. Bills are not something that can happen overnight. And we know that. We put good bills out there and then somebody shoots it down and it has to start all over again. But that doesn't mean we quit. That doesn't mean that we give in. You have to keep voting. You have to keep showing up. If you get quiet, they win.
they win.
That simple.
Oh, wow. You said a lot of things. Generational hope. I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. Generational hope. Because again, people say, well, look what the president's doing. He's doing this, that, and the other. But to your point, okay, it's Congress. In Congress, for example, in the House, there's a 5-person difference between the different parties. In the Senate, there's 8, or it might be vice versa. But again, we're so close to flipping the Congress. And so going back to checks and balances, that's what you want. You don't want one party, whether it's Democrat or Republican, to have control of all 3 branches of government because there's no checks. whatsoever.
Mhm.
So you want there to be a check. The only way that we're going to be able to check the power of the president is to flip Congress. In other words, make it so that they have to work together, Democrats and Republicans, and work
Mm.
it out. Right now, they don't need a Democratic vote. Just like in Tennessee, we have a supermajority. And so a lot of times they don't listen to constituents because they have a supermajority. But again, it's an opportunity to flip some seats so that they have to work together, going back to checks and balance. And again, I just want to ask a few more questions real quickly. A national news about our unions, going back to Dr. King with the sanitation workers. Has there been any really changes since those times? And if so, what changes have been made locally?
That's a really great question. And I want to also say I appreciate you elevating the where the power lies. It does lie in our Congress. It's not the House necessarily. The House is from the state level, but we still affect those relationships. They're here at home. And so we can talk to them a little closer than we can some of the people that are in Congress.
There have been a lot of accomplishments since, and people don't hear about it a lot of times, but what accomplishments where have we, okay, we were going back to Dr. King and the sanitation workers strike.
Yeah.
There were some inroads made, but since then, can you talk about the inroads we have made? We have done a lot of things for the working man.
In the past year, we have been fighting to stop vouchers. This past year, we worked super hard with multiple organizations. SOCM, Tennessee for All is a coalition of multiple organizations that came together to fight against this private voucher bill. That meant that parents were allowed to get access to funds in order for their students to go to a private school. That sounds like it's a great thing, right? Well, it doesn't when it takes away money from public schools. Public schools are free for our students. They're free for our population that cannot, number one, there's a lot of families that can't afford to pay for education. They can't afford to send their students to school. They're already working 2 and 3 jobs at minimum wage, which is ridiculous for our state that we're still that low. What is it? $7.13?
25 cents, yeah.
Yeah, 25 cents. And then even waitresses. We are a central area of hospitality. We have servers everywhere, and we still do not have a good server wage, $2.13. It's still very small. It's a very small wage for waitresses and servers. When we fought against that, and we did win. We won. We got it off the table. We went to the Capitol in Tennessee over in Nashville, and it was so many people there, so many organizations doing great work. Turk was there. Turk is an organization that fights with immigrants, and they were there. They were doing great work. And I mean, they had kids there giving their own stories about how important it was for them to get an education and how they want to go to school without fear. There were just so many people there, and we were able to shut that down. Are they going to bring it back in 26? Absolutely. They're just going to change the music, just like they did with Right to Work. They brought it back multiple times until they were able to sell the voter that was not aware and not reading and plugged into these organizations that are doing voter education. They hear it and they say, wait a minute, that just sounds right. I don't know why I should vote against right to work. Of course I want to work. Of course I want the right to work. And when you read the language, it is so crazy. Now I'm gonna say this.
Mhm.
The more confusing the question is, the more you need to question it. Because if it's confusing, they're hiding something. Someone's hiding something. You need to ask the right questions. And the place to ask is not when you're checking out. It is before you get there. Look up those referendums before you go to the ballot box. Ask me, talking about sanitation workers, they have had to fight multiple times for benefits and to get proper increases. IBEW workers have been fighting. IBEW workers are electricians. They
Yes.
keep our city lit up
Yes.
and they keep these businesses with lights. If we don't have skilled tradespeople right here in our city, where do we have to go? We have to go out of state, getting skill that we don't know, bringing people to our grounds that won't contribute that money earned back into our city, back into our state. They're going to take it back home, and that means we lose money because we're
Exactly.
paying money out. We're not bringing money in. That's why it's important to employ right here in our county, not outside, because when we bring people in, they take it home somewhere else, and then that money does not circulate here, which is where we need it.
Hire locals. You heard that. Okay. To your point, they take the money back there, but also when developers bring in outside labor, that costs more money. And so the more money they're going to have cost these companies, they're going to figure out a way to pass it on to consumers. So for example, with the schools, okay, by the time they decided to build a school, okay, it went up like 30% as far as the cost of building a school. I mean, I remember it started off at 80 million and then now it's like a 120 or more. It just keeps going up and up because of the labor costs and as well as materials now. But at that point, it's just mainly labor. And so they're going to pass on that expense to somebody. And in school situation, it's taxpayers because we're the ones that are along with the school board members, are paying to build these new schools. Hire local. And also, if someone, for example, like in high school, they're talking about, oh, we can't afford to go to college. The student loans are now going to be a lot more, et cetera. If you're a high school student, for example, are there apprenticeship programs available to them?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you now, there's so many opportunities for students that college is not for them. If high school wasn't for you, college probably is not going to be any better because it absolutely requires more work and more discipline, more reading, which is something that a lot of folks don't want to do. You know, people want to be hands on. A lot of people are good with their hands, they're good with their minds and their hands. And that means you need to learn a skill. You need a skill that's going to pay you well. If you want to get out of the trenches, if you want to get out of generational curses of poverty, go get you a trade. Go get a skilled job. Go to one of these apprenticeships. Again, I can't say it enough. Go to bit.ly, bit.ly /APPRENGUIDE. Go there and get the information you need and then sign up for that MC3 program. The MC3 program is a program that teaches pre-apprenticeship skills. They give you a snapshot of all the different trades. And from there, you can decide, what do you want to do? You don't have to go do something for 2 or 3 years like you do in college. And then you decide, I don't even like this, this major. And then your parents are like, you better love it because I paid for it. You better finish it. And then you have to go back and either get another degree or you go into a job that is endless and you're unhappy. And then you're unhappy for years until you say, this is enough. There are a lot of people who get into their seasoned years and they decide, forget it. I've done this long enough. It's time for me to get a trade. I need to get something I can use no matter what happens to me, no matter what happens with the economy. Everybody needs a plumber. Everybody needs electricity. Everybody needs heating. These are the things that are needs and necessities. Machines are not making those things. Maybe one day robots are going to take over the world. But for right now, you can make your money. You can get the skill right now. Do it. And yes, there is some AI stuff going on and we're learning to work with AI. That doesn't mean that the jobs are being eliminated. They still need people like you and I to go into these places and reach and reason that AI is not doing. While the getting is good, get you a union job. Don't get you more debt because that's definitely what student loans will end you up with, years of it.
Well, whew, that's a lot. Sweetrica, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to send this out on social media and we'll give you a copy as well. And also, we're going to ask that we put that link on the first cover slide so everybody can see it, look at it, and maybe apply. And thank you so much for your hard work and staying in those trenches.
That's right. And get you a union job. And you see us out there on those corners. When we're rallying, we're fighting for working rights. And those rights will affect you one day, one way or another. So come join us.
Hi, I'm ERIKA SUGARMON. I am a Shelby County Commissioner as well as an educator. And so I've got like 3 minutes to talk about civics. And yes, we have civics in high schools. It's called U.S. government, which I've been teaching for 27 years. At the middle school, it's called civics. But we talked about the legislative branch of government a little bit. We talked about checks and balance also tonight. Just want you to know that it is up to the mayor and his administration to come up with a budget. Okay, and at the local level, state level, they're required to balance the budget. At the federal level, the federal government does not have to balance the budget. All they do is keep raising the debt. And now it's like 30-something trillion dollars that one day we'll pay back. But at the local level and state level, the budget has to balance. Past fiscal year, we did not increase property taxes, but we did make a lot major cuts. You have to have 7 votes on the commission. and we did not have 7 votes to raise the county property taxes. And people are complaining, well, my property taxes went up. Yeah, they did, because property values went up, but the rate did not go up because we did not increase the rate. And so it's up to the commissioners, for example, to reallocate resources, but it's up to the mayor and his administration to present the budget. And according to our county charter, remember we learned about that last time, we have to abide by the county charter. And that's our responsibility. At the local and state level, we have to balance the budget. At the federal level, we do not. So that's Civics 101. See you guys later. Stay informed.